はい、それでは今回のですね、動画のスピーカーは、マーシー・シャイモフです。でマーシーはですね、まさに幸せとかそれから愛、無償の愛について語らせたらもう本当に世界一のスピーカーだと思います。で彼女はですね、全世界でこれまで1400万部以上売っている超ベストセラー作家です。これはですね、女性のノンフィクションの著者では歴代1位なんですね。全世界で歴代1位なんですね。で日本では脳にいいことだけをやりなさいとかもっと脳にいいことだけをやりなさいという本が売れて、だいたい100万部ぐらい売れているんですけれども、実際彼女はですね、もちろん脳科学もいろいろ研究してはいるんですけれども、メインとしているのは、その現代となっている理由なき幸せ、ハッピーフォーノーリーズンとか、理由なき愛、これは無償の愛と言ってもいいんですが、ラブフォーノーリーズン、こういったテーマについて話すのを非常に得意にしています。で今回の動画ではですね、まさにその理由なき幸せ、何の理由もないけれども本当に幸せっていうのはこれまさに究極の幸せなんですけれども、どうやってそういう状態になれるのか、自分の幸せの度合いを上げるために具体的にどういうことをやればいいのかというのを学んでいただけます。ぜひ楽しみながら学んでいただければと思います。それではご覧ください。
First, happiness. Here is the most exciting part of the research that we've found about happiness, and that is that we each have what's called a happiness set point. And what that means is, earlier, the other night, John was talking about how we have a thermostat and we don't go above our thermostat. Well, the research in this area has actually come from the research in the happiness positive psychology researchers. And what they found is that we all have a happiness set point. And it doesn't matter what happens to us. We can win the lottery, and we'll be happier for about 2-3 months. Within a year, we'll return to our original happiness level. Same is true of people who have tragedies. If you become people who've become paraplegic within a year have also returned to their original happiness level. So what happens outside of us doesn't matter that much. What matters in our happiness is the set point. And here's how the set point is set. It's 50% genetic. That's the part you were born with. It's 10% our circumstances, and the other 40% is our habits of thoughts and behavior. And what I've found is that there are 21 core happiness habits that anyone can practice to raise their happiness level. And I'm going to share with you a few of them today. What I've also have found is that there are a lot of people now, scientists in the field of epigenetics, Bruce Lipton is perhaps one of the leaders in that field, who are saying that our genetics are not fixed. That when, in fact, we change our habits of thoughts and behavior, we're also changing our genetics. So I believe that up to 90% of our happiness is determined and changed by our happiness habits. There's a lot of research done about people who have great circumstances. The people who are the Forbes wealthiest, 40% of the Forbes wealthiest people are more depressed than the average person. It is not the circumstances that matter. What they found is that once you're over the poverty line, no amount of money will make you happier. So we're all busy searching after that great success and great money, but in fact, it doesn't make us any happier, but it's changing these habits that does. So the habits fall into 7 main categories, and I'm just going to quickly share with you those 7 categories, and then we're going to get into how you can make some changes immediately in your own life. I know that it's hard for people to remember 7 categories of anything, so I created a metaphor. I call it building your inner home for happiness. And a home has 7 ingredients, or 7 components. It's got a foundation, 4 corner pillars, a roof, and a garden. So this is how this relates to building your inner home for happiness. The foundation of your home is taking responsibility for your happiness. That is where it all starts. Most people are busy waiting for something in their life to change in order to be happier. That clearly doesn't work. The 4 corner pillars of your home are the pillar of the mind, the pillar of the heart, the pillar of the body, and the pillar of the soul. We really have to address all 4 of those areas in order to raise our happiness set point. I've talked to too many people that have spent a lot of time trying to change their thought patterns, but they don't make any of these other changes, and it will not change your happiness level on an ongoing basis. The next area has to do with the garden, and the garden is, who are you surrounding yourselves with? Are you surrounded by weeds, toxic people, or are you surrounded by gardenias and roses, people who uplift you and inspire you? And finally, the seventh area is the one that Janet and Chris are the experts in, and that is the roof. That is your passion, your purpose, your inspiration in life. And I featured, actually, Janet is featured, her story is featured about in the Happy for No Reason, in my Happy for No Reason program, on following your passions. And the number one way that I tell people to get in touch with their passions is through the passion test, which is why I became a certified passion test facilitator, and I tell it everywhere I go. So what we're going to talk about today, though, is the first three: the foundation, the pillar of the mind, and the pillar of the heart. So let's start with the foundation. The foundation is taking full responsibility for our happiness now. Most people are busy waiting for something in their life to change for them to be any happier. And I want to play for you a 1-minute video right now that I love. And it's kind of how people deal with life. They just sort of wait for something to happen. So here's the little 1-minute video on not taking responsibility for your life. If you could turn up the volume.
Whoa, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are 2 people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, there's not enough left.
So here's how we give away our power and not take responsibility for our happiness. It's through one of the most prevalent happiness myths in our culture. And the myth is this: the myth of I'll be happier when. And we all have our own form of it. You know, I'll be happier when I get a better job. I'll be happier when I lose 20 pounds. I'll be happier when my husband is nicer to me. It's some form of I'll be happier. Now, Greg earlier told his own version of the story of thinking he'd be happier when. And I would like to share with you my version of the story of I'll be happier when, and how I really came to the ultimate sort of wake-up call about, uh-oh, I better do this. I better take my responsibility in my hands for happiness. When I was 19, as I told you, my dad said to me he didn't know how to be happier, and I thought, okay, then I'm gonna figure it out. And I did what most people do, and that is they set goals for themselves, thinking that they're going to be happier when they achieve those goals. Now, I am all for goals, and I am all for creating a great, abundant, successful life. I absolutely know that, in fact, people who are happier create a better life around them. The research shows that people who are happier, on average, make $1 million more over the course of their lifetime. Because when you're happier, you vibrate at a higher energetic level, and you create more success. But I know that the opposite is not true. See, that we have a myth that we think success will bring us happiness. It's the other way around. Happiness brings us success. So I did what most people do, is I set goals for myself. I set 5 goals, and I thought, as soon as I get these 5 goals, then I'll really be happy. And I'm going to share with you what the 5 goals were. The first goal was that I have a career that I really loved, that was serving people throughout the world. My second goal was that I have wonderful friends. My third was that I have a fabulous husband or life partner. My fourth was that I have a nice, comfortable home. And my fifth was that I have the equivalent of Halle Berry's body. Now, 4 out of 5 isn't bad. I don't have Halle Berry's body, but I did get all the other ones. I had a fabulous career, traveling all over the world. As Chris mentioned, I sold 14 million books. It was beyond what I could have imagined. I have amazing friends. I had a fabulous life partner who is now my best friend. My ex-husband turned into a Chris and Janet situation, where, but I had a wonderful relationship. And great home. And I remember the turning point for me. It was in 1998, and I had 3 books at the same time on the New York Times bestseller list. I had never really dreamed of being an author, so for me to have 3 books at the same time on the New York Times bestseller list was like out of this world. I had a great home, great partner, great friends. Everything was totally working as well as it could possibly be working in my life. And I was at this event where there were 8,000 people. At that point, it was the biggest speech I had ever given to 8,000 people. I had sold 5,432 books at that event. I had lines and lines of people around the block, like 3 times, waiting for me to autograph their books. It took me 3 days to autograph the books. Every hour, they had hired a massage therapist to be there to massage my hand every hour so that I didn't get carpal tunnel. At the end of signing all of those books and, being at this great stage of my life, I remember going back up to my hotel room, which was the penthouse suite. I plopped onto the bed, and I burst into tears. Because I realized I had everything that I had thought I ever wanted in life, and I still wasn't happy. There was still that emptiness inside, that same emptiness that Greg talked about earlier this morning. And we all know people who've had everything they've ever wanted, and they're not happy. We've all had the experiences ourselves of getting the goals we thought were going to really do it for us. And still, it's not it. So, what I want us to look at right now is what are our own little insidious, and it's not our fault, it's part of our culture. It's how we grow up. We're encultured to believe that our happiness is going to come from these things happening to us. So what I'm going to have you do in just a moment is I'm going to have you turn to a partner, somebody sitting next to you, and I'm going to have you go back and forth and fill in this sentence. The sentence is, I think I'll be happier when. Very simple. I think I'll be happier when. So you're just going to alternate back and forth with your partner. I might say, I think I'll be happier when Love for No Reason hits the New York Times list. You might say, I think I'll be happier when my teenager listens to me more. Or I think I'll be happier when I make more money, or I get out of debt, or whatever it is. So keep going back and forth. I'm going to give you 1.5 minutes to do this. The partner that's going to go first is the one with the most jewelry on. Okay? So, go. Start. Okay. So, we all have our little versions of this. And what I want to do is address how we can really deal with our little versions of I'll be happier when. Now, one of the things that I learned in interviewing these happy 100 that I interviewed is that they all have a similar underlying belief about life. And Einstein said that the most important question you can ask yourself is this a friendly universe? Is this a friendly universe? And my happy 100 all answered yes. So what does that mean? If this is a friendly universe, what that means is that life is out to support you. That everything that happens to you is happening for your greatest good. We saw it in the movie last night. I thought that was a beautiful depiction of that concept, that whatever is happening to you is happening to support you. So one of the things to do, and again, this was mentioned in the movie last night, one of the things to do is, no matter what's going on in your life, is to answer this question. If this is a friendly universe, then what's the lesson or the gift in this? Why is this happening to me to support my greatest good? Now, I know that many of you have been in the habit, perhaps, of asking this question. I'm going to take it one step further, and that is I'm going to suggest that you eliminate the word bad from your language in terms of how things are happening. So, for example, many people are saying, oh, that was really bad that happened. Oh, it's so bad what's happened to the economy. Oh, it's really too bad that he's sick. Stop labeling something as bad and see what happens. Instead of saying it's too bad, just say, okay, what's the lesson or the gift in this? Now, with every happiness habit, and as I said, there are 21 of them, I found that there are some tools, and I love the times that we live in, because we live in times where there are these phenomenal tools that can help us sort of fast track our way through things. And what I did is I found tools that I thought were really effective for each of these 21 happiness habits. I worked with a company called Learning Strategies. They're the world's leaders in accelerated learning. And we found tools that would really be helpful for dealing with these habits of ours. So one of the habits that I want to share with you has to do with how to deal with this belief of I think I'll be happier when. So what I'd like you to do is pick the one belief that you had, or the one I'll be happier when that you had, that's kind of really most in the way, standing in the way of your own happiness. And figure out what one it is. And we're going to walk through a tool very quickly for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, called the Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT. How many of you practice EFT regularly? Let me just see a show of hands. Okay, so maybe about 3 or 4 people. For those of you who don't, this is a fabulous tool to move us out of the myth of I'll be happier when and into starting to raise your happiness level now, regardless of what's going on in your life. So EFT, the founder of EFT is a guy named Gary Craig, and he said that the cause of all negative emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. So what EFT does is it simply removes the disruption in the body's energy system by tapping on certain energetic meridians or acupuncture meridians. So here's what we're going to do. I'd like you to take the thing that is your biggest thing. So let's say it's, I think I'll be happier when I lose 20 pounds. And I want you to pull out the piece that's making you unhappy. You know, I'm unhappy because I feel bad that I weigh too much, or I feel bad that I don't have enough money, or I have anxiety over a situation. And what we're going to do is you're going to fill in the blank. So you're going to say, even though I feel bad that I'm overweight, or I feel bad that I don't weigh the weight that I want, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So that's going to be your statement. You're going to say that statement out loud 3 times with me as you're tapping on what's called the karate chop point. Then you're going to just silently think that phrase, or think about the thing that's upsetting you, the thing that you're holding off, procrastinating your happiness for, as we run through the other different tapping points. But what I'd like you to do right now is first, before we do the EFT process, is I want you to think about that problem, that situation that you have. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd like you to rate how bad you feel because of that. How is that when you think about that situation on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the worst, you know, it really, really bothers me. I can feel how it affects me when I feel bad that I am in debt, or I feel bad that I don't have my life partner, or I feel bad that I don't weigh my ideal weight. So on a scale of 1 to 10, think of where you are with that. And now, out loud, we're all going to say our statement at the same time while tapping the karate chop point. We're going to say the same statement, and it doesn't matter which hand you use. Karate chop point is just right here. Okay? So out loud together. 1, 2, 3. Even though I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I deeply and completely love and accept myself. One more time. Even though I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, now, just think about...
はい、いかがだったでしょうか。理由なき幸せっていうのはどういうものなのかっていうのを具体的にお分かりいただけたと思います。そして今回の動画の中ではいくつかですね、自分の幸せ度合いをどうやって上げるのかといったヒントがあったかと思います。で今回のですねワークではそのうちの一つですね、何々だけれども私は自分を深く愛し受け入れているというのを書き出してタッピングをするというお話あったと思うんですけれども、今回のワークの中ではそれを書き出すというところだけやりたいと思います。例えばですけれども、私の場合だったら私は食べ物で好き嫌いがあるけれども私は深く自分を愛し受け入れているというのが一つ一例ですね。ぜひ今回ですね、5つ、そちらを書き出していただきたいと思います。はい、では、また次回お会いしましょう。ありがとうございます。